Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. This is a conversation heart to heart and consciousness with itself. This is coming from a non-dual perspective and perception. And I imply you to take a look at all of my other videos that I have out there. If you have any questions, if you feel like something hasn't been addressed in this one, I'm currently trying to keep my videos shorter and more condensed so I can get out more information and it's more accessible. Today I feel the need, the urge, whatever you want to call it, to speak about suffering. I have read and myself gotten a lot of comments lately. Oh, how can you say these things when there's all this stuff going on in this world? And how can you say these things when there's all this suffering? Again, this is coming from a non-dual perspective and perception. The majority of suffering comes from the mind, and that includes emotional suffering, because it comes down to our perception and perspective that we have of a certain person or of a certain situation, or that we have of ourselves. That then creates suffering that starts up here and then often moves down towards the emotional section. Yes? So, also, the majority of suffering is homemade, is our own doing, whether we recognize it or not. Now, that does not necessarily include physical pain, physical suffering, even though there is a good amount of mental going on there, because there are various body, minds, various humans, you can say, that have a different tolerance for pain, a different tolerance for pain level, a different pain level tolerance. And it may be the same injury or the same cause of the pain in two different bodies, two different humans. And one is suffering and the other is not suffering. So it comes down to your tolerance of pain level, and that has a lot to do with your mental and emotional state. Yes, the more your mental and emotional state is out of balance, out of whack, yes, the less you are able to tolerate physical pain or physical discomfort. What some humans may consider a physical discomfort, other humans may label as pain level 10. Yes, on a scale of 1 to 10, pain level 10. Whereas others may just say, it's uncomfortable, but it's okay, I'm okay. Yes? So there are different levels of suffering, but the majority of them really comes from the mind, from the brain, from the stories and beliefs that we hold up here. Yes? That then creates suffering. That then creates emotional and mental pain, emotional and mental discomfort. Suffering really is the inability to deal with what is at face value. Yes? I say that again. Suffering is the inability to deal with what is. To deal with any given situation, any given circumstances. Yes? So let me talk about emotional suffering here real quick. Emotional suffering, for example, could be heartache. Let's say you're in love with a person and that person does not respond to your love, does not love you back. Yes? Or that person stopped loving you and is moving on, is leaving you, and you are suffering, you have heartache, it's a sharp pain, you feel like you cannot breathe, you feel like you cannot live without that other person. And now I know a lot of humans will disagree with me here, but that is not love. That is not true love. That is a almost like an addiction, but you're not in true love. It's a codependency on another person, because the moment you put any dependencies, any conditions on your love, it's not true love, because true love knows no condition. True love is unconditional, meaning you love that other person whether they love you back or not, whether it's reciprocated or not, whether they stop loving you or not. You love that other person unconditional, and that holds the ability to love whether it's reciprocated or not, meaning unconditional love is really that. No conditions put on it. Yes? And the moment you say, I cannot live without them, I cannot breathe without them, I cannot be happy without them, it's not true love. It is a condition that your brain tells you, your mind tells you, that you have to be with that other person, otherwise your life is falling apart. Yes, but that is not love. That is really an attachment to somebody for various reasons. Usually people who are this attached to another person lack a good amount of self-love. And then they are trying to find that love that they lack within themselves for themselves. They're trying to get that from an external person, what we perceive to be out there, as a form of validation, as a form of, now this makes me feel better because so-and-so loves me, so-and-so is in love with me. Yes, this is all nice and dandy as long as it's unconditional. Yes, as long as that person loves you no matter what, as long as you love that person no matter what, yes, then that is true love. Holding the ability and capability to hold space for that other person, whether they love you or not. Yes, that is love. But the moment you put a condition on your love, yes, oh, I love you so much I cannot live without you. I love you so much I'm not happy without you. I can only be happy when you're near me. Yes, that is not true love. That is attachment. And then that really needs to have taken a closer look here. What's going on within? Are you loving yourself? Are you happy with yourself? Can you be in love and happy with yourself, by yourself, and sit with yourself without needing anything from that external world? Yes, that is true love, unconditional love. Yes, and everything else is an attachment. It's almost like an addiction to another person, a codependency on another person, because now your life is depending on whether this person loves you or not, whether this person is with you or not, whether this person stays with you or not, whether this person is leaving you or not. Yes, that's not true love. Okay, I have a feeling that a lot of body minds will say, oh no, true love is when I love somebody so much that I would die for them. That's not true love. That's codependency. That's attachment. Yes? I hate to break it to you. And I don't mean to be rude, but that's what that is. And if you don't have the honesty to actually look at it and say, I need to be able to be happy with myself and love myself without needing anything else, because truly you have everything you need within you. You do not need anything from this perceived external world. Yes, and once you get to that space, that's a good place to be in. Yes, then you have the ability and capability to give unconditional love to whomever you perceive to be out there. Yes, once you love yourself unconditionally. Yes, so that's so much for emotional suffering. That is an example, but I think that's the best example I can give. There are other forms of emotional suffering, definitely emotional trauma and so on and so forth. Yes, but you can have emotional trauma without suffering. Yes, if you work through your trauma and deal with it, then you do not need to be suffering. Yes, suffering is the reoccurrence of a situation that plays over and over in your mind, that then keeps you in a loop, that keeps you suffering. Yes, whether that's mental suffering or emotional suffering. The inability to move past a certain person, a certain situation, a certain condition, yes, that causes suffering. And it comes from here, from your mind, from your brain, from the beliefs that you hold. And it's usually beliefs that limit us, yes? Mental suffering, the same. I don't like myself. I hate myself. Things like that, yes? Or the world hates me. Or I'm always being treated unfair. Yes, those are all limiting beliefs, yes, that can cause mental and emotional suffering. But they're, in that sense, homemade, because it comes down to what are you believing? Yes, because what you are believing will come true and you will create and manifest in your outside world. Yes, so if you believe that the world hates you, you will manifest and create situations where you will encounter that the world hates you. Because that's what you're believing. And the universe, God, creator, source, spirit, your higher self, whatever you want to label it, always gives you what you're asking for. And the moment you believe in something to be true, is you're asking for this to be true in your reality. Yes. So the moment you believe something to be true, it will manifest one way or another in your world, in your reality. And then will reflect back to you as showing you this is your belief, this is what you're asking for. Now you may say, oh, but I don't ask to be hated. No, but if that's what you're putting out there, oh, everybody hates me, nobody likes me, the world hates me, I'm always being treated unfair, everybody's just out to get me. That's what you're asking for. That's what you're putting out there. Yes, and that will then reflect back to you and give you exactly what you're asking for. Yes, it's very simple, but very difficult to comprehend for many body minds, for many humans, that this is our own creation. Yes, it's homemade, it's home cooked. You're cooking this up. Yes, you think your world falls to shit? You're cooking this up. Yes, whether you're aware of it or not, it's still your creation. Yes. Can you deal with that? Can you be honest enough with yourself to deal with that and look yourself in the eye, in the mirror, and say, hey, I don't like my situation. I don't like my reality. It's time to change it. I start here. I start with myself. I start changing this by start changing the way I look at things. There is a saying, and there's different people who allegedly said it. I know one of them is supposed to be Max Planck. Change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. So change the way you look at your circumstances and your circumstances will change. Your situations will change. Change the way you look at your world, you look at your outside reality, and it will change. Yes? That being said, it's still very difficult for many humans, body minds, to take that responsibility. Yes, because it's so much easier to blame whoever's out there. Oh, it was my parents. Oh, it was my government. Oh, it was my teacher. It was my boss who got me into this situation. If you, whatever situation you find yourself in, you created this. And if you own up to it and take responsibility for that, and I spoke about this in many videos before, yes, then you can change any given situation. You can shift out of that, whatever circumstances you are in that you do not like. It just takes the honesty to look at it and look at yourself. Start with yourself. Stop blaming whoever you perceive to be out there, because this is all still you. There is only you. There is only that. Yes. Again, suffering comes from the mind. And now I can hear a lot of people saying, oh, but the world is suffering. We have so much poverty. And we have too many people in this world. And we have too many poor in this world. And oh, my favorite quote, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And again, it comes down to what beliefs you hold in your mind that are limiting you and your manifestation, that are limiting you to access the full potential of your being, of your beingness, of your consciousness, whatever you want to call it. Yes? Those kind of beliefs. We have too many people in this world. Oh, where's that coming from? Whoever proved this? Where are those numbers coming from? Who is putting out those numbers? Ask yourself these questions. Always question everything you find in this external world. Yes? Because once you start believing this, once you let the external dictate your manifestation, you will be creating stuff that some other characters out there are putting out for the sake of propaganda. That's how propaganda is working. That's how brainwashing and manipulation is working. Mind control is working. By characters out there putting out information that they know will affect humans as a whole, yes, as a let's say as a whole consciousness, and that then will be mass belief that the masses believe, and as soon as you believe something, you create it in your external world. Yes? So who told you that we have too much people in this world? And who says the world is all poor? Poor and rich really is a perception. And if you look at some countries that the Western world would consider poor, but yet they have everything they need. And they are happier than most people I've ever met. Yes? Again, it comes down to your perception and perspective of any given situation. Yes? That then decides whether you experience heaven here on earth or hell here on earth. Because you create your own heaven and you create your own hell. Heaven is not a place, neither is hell, and I spoke about this before, so I don't want to go into any more details here. Yes? But you create what you believe, the stories, what you consider memories, the stories that you hold in your head, in your brain, in your mind, and the beliefs that you hold in your mind will create your perceived life, your perceived lifetime, your perceived reality, external world. And I said this in a video recently, you can only receive vibrationally what you put out there. Yes, so whatever you put out there vibrationally will be matched back to you, reflected back to you. Yes, so if you put a lot of anger, frustration, hate, and so on and so forth, depression out there, it will reflect back to you. If you put a lot of drama out there, it will reflect back to you. Yes, you can have two people, living in the same neighborhood, same town, same neighborhood. Yes, and one says, oh, this is heaven on earth, and the other one says, oh, the world's falling to shits, this is hell on earth. Yes, because it comes down again to your perception and perspective that then creates your mental, emotionally, and often physical suffering. Because if you have mental and emotional issues, you usually have anger, frustration, depression, anxiety, and so on and so forth. Yes, so if you let your mind dictate to you the conditions of your happiness, the conditions of your love, the conditions of your beingness, yes, if you let your mind put limitations on you, that then creates suffering. Because again, suffering is the inability to deal with whatever any given situation is at face value. Yes. Now, I feel there will be a lot of people saying that this is not true, and so caused my suffering, and this caused my suffering. And again, yes, I stay with my verbal explanation here. The majority of suffering is homemade, and the majority of suffering, with a few exceptions, comes from the limitations your mind, your brain puts on you. When people talk about the matrix, your mind, your brain is the matrix. Yes? But I want to leave it at this because I've made a lot of videos already, longer videos, like 1-hour videos where I spoke about all of this before. Again, I had a lot of comments recently that the world is suffering. Yes? And if that's what you perceive to be out there in your reality, ask yourself why that is showing up in your reality. What is going on within you that you perceive your world to be constantly suffering? Yes? And yes, there's issues that need to be addressed, and we're addressing these. Yes? We're here to, as a collective, raise the vibration, the law of the light, whatever you want to call it, of this reality, so that this whole reality shifts into a more comfortable, more compassionate, more loving reality for the humans. Yes? But again, what do you perceive to be out there comes from whatever you believe in your mind, in your head. Yeah? So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, a message. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. I really, really appreciate you if you made it through this video. I want to send out much love, much blessings for every being perceivedly out there. Yes. So that everybody, every being may find that true inner peace. Yes. And with that comes self-love, self-acceptance, and with that will come the reflection from your world of love and acceptance. Yeah. I see you, I appreciate you, I honor you. The light in me recognizes that same light in you, for we are all one light, one consciousness, one energy field. I love you all. Namaste.